gonna be.
And we're live. Hey J-Star. Welcome guys to this second stream. I hope this one won't be as stupid as the first one was. Well, got a lot of good feedback from the first one. Thank you guys so much. We had the chance in the last one to speak about the different major and minor attributes, and in addition to the best of slot majors and minors that you can roll in each gear piece. In this stream we'll be talking about weapon talents, weapon types, and high-end gear talents. Try to keep it short and sweet, but I should be able to answer any questions you guys have, and also go through the best in slot talents and gear pieces. Alright, so let's start. Let's quickly talk about weapons first. As for weapons, we have 5 types of weapons in addition to sidearms. So in total we have 6 types of weapons. We have shotguns, SMGs, assault rifles, LMGs, and marksman rifle. Now, each of these weapons have their own built-in talent or built-in feature. For example, submachine guns have a built-in crit hit chance. Assault rifles have enemy armor damage. Marksman rifle have an addition headshot damage. I don't think I have any LMGs, but LMGs have extra damage to targets outside of cover. And the shotguns have got stagger, which is the very annoying flinch you normally get in Last Stand, where someone will rush you as an SASG and keep shooting you, and your reticle will be flying all over the place. This is due to the stagger on shotguns. Okay, so when you speak about each of those weapon types, the first thing that comes to mind, or the first thing that we need to put in mind, is where to use each of the weapons. Each of the weapons have an ideal range to be used at, and it goes from the very short range, which is shotguns. After that you have SMGs, which have a slightly longer range. Shotguns have a maximum range of around 15 meters. After that you will start getting a drop off. You know what, let's go to the shooting range so I can show you live examples. So anyhow, I was saying shotguns have got around 15 meters of an ideal range. After that you start having a drop off on the damage of the weapon itself. SMGs have up to 19 or 20 meters, or even less, I think 17 or 18. Hello everyone. Who else? Yeah, assault rifles have up to 27 meters, LMGs have longer, and marksman rifle have basically a very long fall down that it's technically unmeasurable. So let's go on and put a shotgun on, just so I can show you a quick example of what I mean when I say okay. Okay, I have a medved, which is a very good example because it shoots a single round instead of slug rounds like the rest of the shotguns. So if you can see, when I shoot once, I get 92,000. This is almost 5 meters away from the target. So it is in the ideal range of the shotgun. 92,469. If I go and try to shoot at a further target, let's say this one, we have a drop of almost 10%, it's 84. And if we shoot at the target that's even further, I think it will drop down even further. Was that 56? Yes, it's 56. So shotguns are good, extremely annoying in PvP, but they are limited to their very short. SMGs also are good on short range, short to medium range. Their drop off is not as bad as the shotguns. If you see here, I'm hitting for 22,129. If we go to a target that's a little bit further, okay, those both are crits. It's 18k. And if I shoot at target that's even further and further, I'm getting 13k. So that's what I was talking about in the beginning. Shotguns and SMGs are good in short ranges, albeit SMGs have a little bit of a longer range, but they still are made for shorter ranges. Assault rifles, for example, let's take this G36 and let's try shooting it at a very close range to see its base damage. So here we're having 22,902. When we shoot at the medium range target, we don't have any drop off. Actually we do, hold on, do I have responsive here? I'm having 22 here. 20.8. 20.8. Okay, that's rather odd because... Hold on, what turns do I have on this? Competent, brutal, and I have responsive on this one. Okay, sorry, that was my bad. Let's take another one. Responsive basically adds 10% to your flat damage when you are less than 10 meters away from a target. Let's take another assault rifle that's... Okay, this is a good one. Does not have anything activated. Let's give it a go. So on a very short range we're having 20k, 20.6k. If we switch to a longer range, we still have the same damage exactly. There is no drop off on the assault rifle on medium ranges. Even on a little bit longer range, it is still 20.6. Stick to the longest range. 20.6. So in this shooting range you will not experience any drop off on your assault rifle damage due to distance from the targets. Now LMGs, just to see LMGs real quick. I don't think I have an LMG on me in my inventory. Yeah, I have a Pacan, which is an LMG. So again, if we go at a very short range, 24, 24, 24. So LMGs are very similar to assault rifles when it comes to range, albeit LMGs have an even longer range than assault rifle. So when the damage of the assault rifle will start dropping off, your LMG should have the same base damage for an even longer range. So as I said in the beginning, when we start from zero, it's shotgun, SMG, assault rifle, LMG, and then marksman rifle. I can show you like how would it be with a marksman rifle, but you all know that there will be absolutely no damage drop if we change to an assault rifle. Whether we go here, here, or there, it's exactly the same damage. It will not drop off till about 50 or 55 meters, which technically is way outside of your combat or of your combat area. Like you will not have any encounter that is more than 50 meters in the game. So marksman rifles will never experience any damage drop. Now that does not make them better in all ranges. An SMG will always outshoot or outdamage a marksman rifle at a shorter range, simply because the marksman rifle is a very slow weapon and it is made to be used at a longer range, unlike SMG, which is very stable, very accurate at a short range, and able to do a very fast burst damage to the enemy in front of you. Okay, let's go near the recalibration station to talk about the talents and the built-in feats for each type of weapons. Hi, Will. Yes, we are on PS4. Okay, how far the furthest target in the shooting range actually is? Yeah, let's check it, MP, before I go back to the shooting range.
Hey, yo.
What the hell is wrong with my controls today? So this is 5 meters. If I try to drop it there... No, don't do that to me. It's I would say it's around 27 or 28 meters. As you can see now, my grenade is almost at the furthest target, and it's giving me 27 meters. Oh, targets are 5, 20 meters, and 30. 5, 20, and 30. Is that true, then? So yeah. Okay. Okay. Oh, so like right now this is a 35. Is that true? Like the one I am aiming at as it is. All right, let's go back to the recalibration station.
We need you. Remember that outfit.
All right, so we'll quickly talk about the built-in talent in each weapon, or I wouldn't call it a talent, so we won't get it confused with the actual talent. Let's call it the built-in feat, or the built-in feat. Let's call it the built-in feat in each weapon. Hold on. Sorry, I got sidetracked here. Okay, let's start with shotguns. As we said earlier, shotguns have stagger, which is the flinch you normally experience when you're playing PvP. You will see it more efficiently on NPCs, not on players, because NPCs will actually stop shooting you and they will flinch back when you shoot them. This is due to the stagger on the shotgun. This shotgun has got 333.5% stagger. Now I am not sure how exactly does this stagger percentage change the way they flinch, because for all I care, they will all flinch the same way. All I'm thinking is it will flinch it will affect the duration they stay flinched or staggered. The more stagger you have on your weapon will affect how much stagger or how much the NPCs will stay staggered. SMGs have got built-in crit chance. It used to be crit damage, and thank God they changed it back to crit chance. It means that, for example, on this gun I have 21% crit hit chance. It means out of every 100 bullets, ideally I should have 21 critting. Now, crit, when you talk about crit, what is crit exactly? crit starts at 100% damage, and the more crit you have, the optimal range for each weapon type is as follows. Bear in mind each variant of the type is slightly different. Okay, so Dan is gonna write the actual drop-off point for each weapons. I gave you a slight estimate of it, but thank you, Dan, for doing that. It's something I haven't actually prepared for. Yeah, thank you for doing that. Anyhow, so back to where we were. Yeah, we were talking about SMGs and crit hit chance. Now, as we said, SMGs have built-in crit hit chance. It means out of every bullet you shoot, you have a 21% chance of this single bullet critting. And of course, when the bullet crits, depending on how much crit hit damage you have, you will do more damage than your base damage. So hold on, I'm gonna run back to the shooting range. I think we should do this whole episode next to the shooting range.
Great job over at the consulate.
Best stuff in the city.
Getting stuck on terrain. Okay, so as you can see, my base damage is 17%, but when I crit, it goes all the way up to 29%. This is because I have... Let me show you how much crit hit damage I have. I have 66% crit hit damage. Now, let's try to drop my crit hit damage a little bit, so you will have a better understanding of what exactly is happening. Okay, my vent break has got crit hit damage on it. Let's change it to something else. Okay, I cannot unequip because my inventory is full. Let's put it back with the bigger capacity, this one. Okay, so when I remove this mod that is giving me an 18% extra crit hit damage, that should reduce the amount of crit I'm having on my SMG. So now, hold on, it's 23. So that's almost 3,000 less or 5,000 less. I can't remember how much did I crit before. So now I'm doing 23. So as you can see, when I removed this, the muzzle attachment, which was giving me 18% crit hit damage, that reduced my damage by almost 3,000 per crit. Per each crit bullet, it gave me like 3,000 less damage. So again, SMGs have got built-in crit hit chance, and the crit hit chance, the amount of damage the crits give you, depends on crit hit damage. Alright, that's that. Assault rifles. Assault rifles have built-in enemy armor damage. Now, there's a lot of confusion regarding enemy armor damage. Does it work in PvP? Does it not work in PvP? In short, yes, it works in PvP, but it's useless. It's almost useless in PvP. It's much more useful in PvE, where you can actually see the armor of the enemy. You can see the armor of the NPCs, which is the small square bars on their health bar. While in PvP it got significantly nerfed from how it was in 1.5, simply because of the way they changed armor. Back in the day, back in 1.5, the average amount of armor any player would had was about 53%, and now I would say it's something in the range of 31 or 32. Like if you look at, yeah, 32.8. I would say like the average is between 31 to 33.5 as a player armor, or armor on players. Now you might ask, okay, fine, yeah, the armor was reduced, but the enemy armor damage on the assault rifles or on talents such as destructive or on your gear pieces was not changed. So how did that make the way armor works? Armor is not a linear stat. Armor basically mitigates the amount of damage you are getting. So if I'm shooting at you, let's say now I'm in a PvP situation against this practice target, and my usual bullet is doing 18.3k damage. Now if this practice target in front of me was a player, and we were in last stand, or we were in the dark zone, first of all I will have a 0.3 damage PvP damage modifier against him, which means that automatically, since I'm shooting at a player, my damage is divided by, or it's multiplied by 0.3. So my 17 or my 18.3% will become something around 5 or 5.5k. Now, will I be getting more because I have enemy armor damage? Yes. However, the enemy armor damage itself works according to how much armor your enemy has. So if my enemy has got 32% armor and I have, let's say, 15% armor damage, or let's keep it at 20% armor damage, since that's a sweet number. What will basically happen is, after the modifier, which is 3% against him, which effectively puts my armor damage from 15 to 5. Okay, I will again have a 5% reduction from his 23%. So if you do the math really quickly, 5 out of 23 is around, 5% of 32. That should be somewhere in the range of 1.6 or 1.7. So effectively, I'm only damaging his armor or like I'm only getting an extra 1.3 or 1.6% damage. So if my pure bullet was doing 10k, I'll be doing around 10,000 and 10,100, or like, no, not even that. Yeah, around 10,100 or 10,150. So the amount of damage, or the amount of extra damage I get from enemy armor damage is so minute that it would be much better for you to spec into things like crit hit chance or crit hit damage, or even pure base damage in talents that we'll speak about later, such as responsive or competent or prepared. So this is why enemy armor damage, while it's still active in PvP, it's not as effective as it used to be on 1.5. Now, I agree, assault rifles are still up there. They're still like the M4 variants, which is the lightweight, the police M4, and the Elvoa, are still some of the best PvP weapons, but that's not because they have enemy armor damage. It's simply because of their base damage and their RPM. So it's whoever is using assault rifles in PvP at the moment, they're not using them because of enemy armor damage. They're using them just because they're good weapon. They have good base damage, burst DPS nevertheless, which is what makes them a good option for PvP. Okay, next in line we need to speak about LMGs. LMGs have built-in damage to targets out of cover. On this Bakan here we have 14% damage to targets out of cover. Now what that means, basically, if your enemy, whether it's it's a player, whether it's PvP or whether it's an NPC in PvE, is outside of cover, and when you say outside of cover, like for example right now I am outside of cover. Now I'm not. Now someone might ask, okay, what about now? Like, am I outside of cover or am I in cover? Or no, you're still in cover. Although like you technically can be shot at because your head is popping and you're shooting your weapon or you're doing whatever, but you are still in cover. You're still stuck to the cover. So as long as the target is outside of cover, they are not taking cover behind something and shooting back or doing whatever the hell they want, then they are considered in cover. Right now, as I said, I'm outside of cover. To show you an example, like to the multiplier or the damage targets out of cover multiplier, the base damage on my LMG is 19.8k. And I don't have any talent that can increase that, such as responsive or prepared. Now when I shoot, I should get the same number we were just talking about, which is 18.7, so which is, sorry, 19.8. But when I shoot, I'm getting 22.6. This is because of the damage outside of cover, targets outside of cover damage modifier. In this case, I'm getting 14% more damage on my base damage to the target that I'm shooting, which is why I'm hitting for 22.6. Again, damage to targets out of cover is a very good and strong perk. However, since it's on LMGs, and LMGs aren't the strongest weapons in the game when it comes to PvP, you won't see them used a lot in the Dark Zone or in Last Stand. Now that doesn't mean that they're useless weapons. They're actually amazing in PvE, but since PvP depends more on burst damage than sustained damage, basically you need to put as much damage as you can in the shortest time possible before your enemy or before the player in front of you gets the chance to heal themselves or to run away from you or wait for his friend to come and wreck you. This is why in PvP you need burst damage. This is why things like the M4 or SMGs or even at a close range shotguns are really prominent now in the Dark Zone. So LMGs, very good weapons, but mostly for PvE. Marksman rifle. Marksman rifle have built-in headshot damage. What that means now, before anyone gets confused, all weapons have got built-in headshot damage. The only difference is marksman rifle have got more headshot damage. For example, if you look at here, I'm hitting for 18 to the body and 30 to the head. So I'm getting less than half. The difference between them is less than half. 18 and 30. Now when I go for a marksman rifle, here for example I'm hitting for 123 to the body, and to the head I'm hitting for 374. That's almost 3 times as much. This is simply because of the modifier on the marksman rifle, which is marksman rifles, which is headshot damage. As you can see in this case, this modifier is 171. It means that the headshot damage modifier is the base damage multiply, like, is 171% times the base body damage, as an additive value, not as a multiplicative value. So you have to see whatever your base damage is. In this case, it's 123, and you have to multiply that by 171% and then add it to the base damage. This is why we're getting almost 3 times as much headshot when we use the marksman rifle. Now, the next highest weapon that has got, or the weapon that has got the highest headshot multiplier other than a marksman rifle, is the urban MDR, which has got around 95% headshot damage. If you can see in this case, 47, 96. It's still not double the amount, but almost. So as for weapons which are not marksman rifle, this is the highest headshot damage you can get, of course not counting any extra talents such as brutal, or the amount of headshot damage multiplier you have on your attachments. Okay, here I have 5.5, which is giving me a 5.5 extra headshot damage, more than I should have without any attachments. Anyhow, sorry, got sidetracked a bit here. As we were saying, marksman rifles have got a built-in headshot damage, which is an additive damage to your base damage. Basically, whatever your base damage is, you take 171% of it, or 169, or whatever the value you have on your gun, and add it to the base value that your gun has currently have. So take a simple example. Let's say that my damage was 100k instead of 123, and my headshot damage multiplier was 171%. It means that I will be shooting at the body for 100k and at the head for 270k or 271k. Okay, Dan is gonna post the headshot multipliers for the weapon types. Thank you again, Dan. That's quite helpful. Alright, now that we're done with the shooting range, we can finally go to the calibration station and talk about talents. Alright, gun talents. Now, when you speak about gun talents, they are basically those annoying symbols you have on your gun. Here, prepared, brutal, elevated, responsive, vicious. Basically what they do is they add extra modifiers to your gun, such as flat damage, or extra crit, or extra crit hit damage, or even some crowd control things, such as applying bleed to a target, or applying burn effect to a target, etc. Now, all of those talents are conditional. It means that almost none of them are active all the time. But you have to know when and how and what type of weapon is best for what talents. This all depends on the type of weapons. So we were just talking about marksman rifle, and we were saying that marksman rifle have a headshot damage multiplier, and they're meant to be used on like for headshots on a long range. So the best, or some of the best talents you can get for any marksman rifle is prepared, which increases your damage for targets that are more than 30 meters away from you. Here you can read it. Damage is increased by 15% when more than 30 meters from the target. And brutal, which gives you headshot damage, is increased by 12% when using this weapon. The third talent, which is a built-in talent in all M700s, is elevated. Increase your damage by 10% when elevated more than 1.2 meters above your target. All right. Anyhow, back to the talents. What we're saying is you have to know what talents to use on which type of weapons. We quickly spoke about marksman rifle and what are the best talents you can roll on them. If you go to the recalibration station and try to recalibrate the guns, knowing that not all guns can roll the same talents. Some talents are locked for specific guns, and some talents will roll on certain guns, but they will not roll on others. Like, if you look at the list of possible recalibrations I have now for a marksman rifle, I have things like intense. No, so not intense. I have things like toxic, cool-headed, disciplined. Those are all talents that are, I'd say it. Disciplined is only for marksman rifle. It will only roll on marksman rifles. Cool-headed, toxic, and there's another one which is what was its name? I want that. Harmful, which is the third one from the top. Those ones can only be rolled on pistols and marksman rifles. So there's a lot of talents, and we will not have time to go through all of them. But what I'll do is I'll go through each weapon type and speak about the best possible talents that you can roll in each of those weapon types. So as we were saying, for marksman rifles, the best weapons for damage that you can roll are prepared, brutal, elevated, and competent. Prepared will increase your damage when you are more than 30 meters away from the target. Brutal will increase your headshot damage by 12%. And a competent will increase your base damage by 10% every time you use a skill. Now there are some other talents that you can use, not for damage but more for skill builds, such as talented or cool-headed. Talented will increase your skill power every time you kill a target with the gun that has got talented on it. Cool-headed, every time you headshot an enemy, you will get a certain amount of skills cooldown. I think it's 5% per each headshot. Things like toxic, intense, and harmful, those are good for CC or crowd control. Toxic will apply the blind effect on the targets, intense will apply the burn effect on the targets, and harmful will apply the bleed effect. Now, although useful, those three talents we just spoke about, harmful, toxic, and what was the third one? Harmful, toxic, and intense. Although useful, you might wanna not roll them on a marksman rifle, simply because you'd much rather roll things that will help you with base damage or with skill cooldowns, and keep crowd control for pistols, because that is what they're meant to. No one really takes out their pistol unless they want to apply bleed on a target or apply burn on a target, etc. So as I said, although useful, you might want to stay away from them, because there are better things that you can roll on them. Okay, that's marksman rifle. Let's talk about assault rifles. Uh, Assault rifles, as we are, if we understand the nature of the gun. Now, this is not a good example to show you. This is the Urban MDR, which is almost a marksman rifle. Uh, okay, let's talk about assault rifles, especially the high RPM ones. Are weapons, as we said earlier, they are good for burst damage, like a quick amount of damage that doesn't last for long. Like I have 900 RPM on this gun. The standard magazine size is 30%. Put an extended mag, it can go to 63, 64, depending on your magazine size. But still, this means that you'll empty your magazine in a very quick time. So you need things that increase your damage or increase the amount of burst you can apply on a target. So things like responsive, things like deadly, brutal, even competent. Those are some of the best talents you can roll on an assault rifle. There are other talents, or there's a different way to mod your assault rifle, which is modding it for crits. Basically, you can run talents such as vicious or deadly or fierce. All those talents will increase the amount of crits you have or the amount of crit damage you have. But again, for an assault rifle, although it's a good way to mod it for crits, the best way to do it is to mod it for pure base damage, like weapons that will give you extra base damage on your assault rifles, such as responsive, as we said earlier, competent, or even if okay, now since we're playing on console, it's not as viable as it is on PC, but brutal technically gives you pure base damage each time you hit a headshot. Now, yeah, it got removed. One of the best talents that used to be for an assault rifle and now it's got removed is balanced, which used to reduce your or increase the stability of the gun. It was removed, I don't know why, it did not work properly for the longest of times, and eventually they just decided to remove it off the game. So let's move to another type of weapons, SMGs. Now, when you build an SMG, you need to keep in mind that your SMGs generally have got lower base damage than assault rifles. But what compensates for that, what makes up for that, is the amount of crits you can get on the SMG. NP do talents like responsive show in the base damage per bullet. No, no NP, they don't, because as I said, all talents, absolutely all talents are situational. Okay, there are talents like brutal, which do show in the DPS meter and in the base damage per not in the base damage per bullet, but they do show in the DPS meter, simply because the DPS formula in the game is a joke. It basically assumes that you are hitting headshots according to how much accuracy you have on your gun. So if you have 30% accuracy, the DPS meter automatically assumes that out of every 100 bullets you shoot, you will land 30 on the heads, and then it will calculate the headshot damage, which will be affected by brutal if you have on your gun. Things like responsive, no, they do not show on the DPS meter or on the base damage per bullet, simply because your DPS meter, your primary or your secondary DPS meter does not know how far is the target from you until you start shooting at it. Now, there's a trick question. Let's say I am actually shooting at a target which is less than 10 meters. Does it show at that very simple point? I don't know, because in order to go back to your menu, you'll need to stop shooting, so the meter will reset again. But as I said, the brutal, prepared do not show on your DPS meter. Alright, yeah, we got sidetracked. Anyhow, as we were saying, SMGs generally have a lower per bullet damage than the assault rifles, but what makes up for that is the crit hit chance and crit hit damage they can produce, which means that the best talents for an SMG are things that increase your crit hit chance or crit hit damage. Okay, this is not an ideal SMG to show you, although like I have what I have on it, which are brutal, deadly, and unforgiving because I chose to. Like ideally I would change deadly to responsive because of the way I play. I usually just get in the enemy's face and get killed before I'm able to kill them because I suck at playing, but I generally like to get very close and personal. This is why talents like responsive and unforgiving are too helpful for me. But as I was saying, some of the best talents to roll on your SMG are things that increase your crit hit chance and crit hit damage. Such as vicious, like here we have vicious on here. Critical hit chance is increased by 10% while having more than 2 segments of health. Now, although it's great, vicious is great on an assault rifle, on an SMG, you want to make sure that it's rolled on your free slot, which is the one that does not require any electronics or firearms or stamina to get it to unlock it, simply because vicious has got a very high stamina requirements. For 790 is too much, knowing that, as we said earlier, stamina became useless in 1.6. So vicious is a very good talent if you can get it in the 3rd slot. If not, then I would suggest you stay away from it. But if you chose to run more stamina just to activate it because this is how you want to build, or this is how your playstyle is, or for whatever reason, then it's your choice. As I said earlier, there's no right or wrong way of doing any certain build. There is as long as you understand what you're doing and why you're doing it, then it's right. A lot of questions or I hear this question a lot in different streams, or even people ask me, is it right to roll this talent on that gun, or is it right to use stamina in this case? It's always right as long as you're knowing what you're doing. If you are doing it for a certain reason or because of a certain theory that you have behind your build, then it's always right. So sorry I got sidetracked again, but it's a habit. So we were saying talents like vicious, deadly, which increases your crit hit damage by 15%. There's also, let's go back to the calibration options. Responsive is very good because, as we said, the ideal range for SMGs is very short, so the extra damage for targets that are less than 10 meters away from you, which is what you get with responsive, is a great help. So as I said, responsive is one of the best talents you can run in SMG. There's also adept, which gives you 7.5% crit hit chance for around 15 seconds every time you use the talent. There's competent, which is good on all weapons simply because it gives you a flat base 10% increase every time you use the talent. Also you have what was the last one? Fierce, which gives you 5% unconditional extra crit hit chance on your gun. Now those are the best talents you can run in your gun for pure damage. However, there are other talents that can help you increase your damage in a different way. The talent you see on the very top, Hurried, this is an SMG exclusive talent, and what it does is, let me see if I can show you, or I'll try to read. I don't have it here. I might have PP19 in my stash. Basically, every time you crit, every time you hit a target with a crit, it reduces your reload time up to 1 second minimum here. Yeah. Critical hits increase reload speed by 10% to a minimum of 1 second reload time. So if you think about it, you're already critting a lot with the SMG. And by the time you finish a magazine, especially on guns that already have a larger size magazine, such as the MP5 or even the PP19 itself, by the time you're done with your magazine, it's almost certain that you will get the minimum amount of reload speed, which is 1 second. Now, while this talent does not immediately affect your damage, it does affect the amount of bullets you're putting. It does the pause in between, which is the reload, is minimized, which means that instead of spending 2 seconds or 2.5 seconds reloading and getting bullets while not shooting back, you're able to do that in 1 second and you're back in game. So as we were saying, this is actually one of the best talents you can run in SMGs. Now this is more of a PvE talent, because as we said earlier, in PvP your encounter is usually done within one magazine, especially if you're face trading. One of you will drop before one magazine is finished. So unless someone starts to roll around and take cover and hide, etc., then you will have enough time to reload and go back to action. So back to our point, we spoke about Hurried. Swift is another option on all weapons, again for PvE, which increases or reduces your reload time by 25%. And I think that's it. We will speak about the situational or the skill talents in a bit, since those are common in all weapon types and they're not best in slot for any weapon type unless you're building for talents, or unless you're building a skill build. Fine, let's go next to LMGs. Okay, LMGs. LMGs are more or less, they're very similar to assault rifles in the sense they shoot in the same way, they don't have any crits. They generally tend to have a bigger magazine size and a slower RPM. Like this is the Pakan, which is the second fastest, or is it the third? It's the third fastest LMG in the game, and it's shooting for 650, which is very low. It's almost like the AK that shoots for 600, and it's the slowest assault rifle in the game, the slowest full auto assault rifle in the game. Because as we said earlier, the MDR is almost a marksman rifle. It doesn't act like an assault rifle. So the trade-off in the LMGs is their large magazine size. Here we have 45 as a magazine size for a standard, which is I think that it is bigger than any magazine size on an assault rifle. Knowing that this is actually one of the smallest magazine sizes you can get on an LMG. On weapons such as the M60, you can get up to 100 as a base, and with an extended mag you can go up to 214 or 216, and basically you never have to reload. But again, the trade-off for that is the lower base damage and the slower RPM, which means those guns are made for PvE more than they're made for PvP, because PvE or like the NPCs in this game get staggered uh, by MG5 is 35. No, MG5 is 50. The magazine size on the MG5 is 50 as far as I can remember. Let me double check.
We need
You might be right actually, but I'm pretty sure it's 50. MG5, it's 50. Yeah, the base magazine size on an MP5 on an MG5 is 50. Now the MG5 is the closest you can get to an assault rifle as an LMG. It's got decent RPM, 800. It's got a medium size magazine size when it comes to magazine sizes, but again the base damage on it is very low. It's 14.9, let's say 15, and we have an extra 15% damage to targets outside of cover, so you'll get around 16k per bullet, while as we said earlier the lightweight M4, which's already got a higher RPM, does have a higher base damage. So again, this is what we were saying earlier. LMGs are more of a PvE weapon, simply because you can lay sustained damage. You can suppress your enemies and keep firing further and further, which is better in PvE than it is in PvP. So back to what we were saying in the beginning. Talents, the best talents to run for LMGs. Again, anything that would increase your base damage, because this is what LMGs lack, would be very good. Unfortunately, responsive does not roll on LMGs, because as we said, it's a weapon that is meant for medium to long ranges. So the 10 meter is technically not in the LMG's sweet spot, as we say. Oh, where's the... Oh yeah, here it is. So as you can see here in the list, if you go through it, you will not find responsive, because as we said, responsive does not roll in LMGs. The other extreme of responsive, like the talent that is similar, that works in a similar way but in a different manner to responsive, is prepared, which gives you extra damage to targets that are further away from you, that are further than 30 meters away from you. Now, although ideally it's good because it's giving you flat base damage, but it's not that great on LMGs, because it's really hard to hit targets which are more than 30 meters away from you from an LMG, simply because although LMGs are some of the most accurate, actually they are the most accurate guns in the game. I will show you an example now, but still the amount of kick you get on them when it comes to stability isn't ideal. Hold on, let me put on my Pacan to show you an example. And let's go to the 30 to 35 meters engagement, which is that target. As you can see, I am able to keep my reticle on it, but it's not that easy to, like, I find myself having to compensate with the right analog, and this is a stationary target, so if it was moving, it will be much harder to control. This is why I don't recommend that anyone rolls prepared for LMGs. Again, things like competent, brutal, or deadly are some of the best talents you can run on LMGs. Now, when you think about how LMGs work, they are very accurate weapons. They have a very large magazine. They are meant for suppress. So, as for talents which are not made for pure base increase, you want to think about something like meticulous. With Meticulous, every time you kill a target, you will have a 25% chance of instantly refilling your magazine. And this refill comes out of out of nothing. It does not come out of your ammo reserves or anything. It just comes out of nowhere. So this is actually a very good talent to run on LMGs, especially if you're running a Hungry Hog. I think I have a Hungry Hog with Meticulous on it somewhere. Yeah, and as I was saying, yeah, there you go. So the Hungry Hog, every time you kill a target with the Hungry Hog, your damage is increased by 10% until you stop firing. So if you have Meticulous and you have a 25% of refilling your magazine every time you kill a target, they work very well together. So you kill a target, your damage increases, and you have 25% of instantly filling your magazine, which means you will keep firing, you don't have to stop firing, and you will not lose your bonus. So I have tried it. It's not really that easy to keep up with, because most of the time the targets will go into cover, and you will have to stop shooting because you will have to turn around or you have to run away. But when it procs, it's lots of fun. So yeah, for LMGs you want to look to use them as a utility weapon more than a pure damage dealing weapon. Use them to suppress, use them to grab aggro from the targets, to let your damage dealer teammates focus on the NPCs or focus on other players. So as we were saying, Meticulous is one of the best talents you can run on any LMG. I chose not to roll it on this Bakan because ideally I would want to roll Meticulous on a free slot because of its higher stamina requirements, and I guess I just did not get to play around with the Pakan a lot to roll anything else on it. So what did we miss? Shotguns. Shotguns, you have to treat them almost like you treat SMGs when it comes to base damage. They don't have a built-in crit hit chance, but they're also they're made for a short range, which means you will need to roll things that augment your build or augment your playstyle around shorter ranges. You need things like responsive, you need things like competent. Brutal actually is very good on shotguns, because the way shotguns work is let me grab a shotgun so I can show you better. I don't have any proper shotgun except the medfed. So this goes to the stash. Okay, here's Super 90, which is a shotgun. Let's equip that real quick before we go.
Look who it is.
So as I was saying, Brutal is one of the best talents to run in shotguns, because the reticle on the shotguns is very, as you can see, it's circular. So when you aim at the head, you don't have a small point like you have, for example, in an assault rifle. In the assault rifle, you have your crosshair, which is exactly where you'll be shooting. So if you were a little bit to the side, you'll miss the shot. While in shotguns, even if you're a little bit to the side, you'll still hit. And your headshots will have increased headshot damage. Dan, is it worth stacking a shotgun with crit hit chance? Yeah, it absolutely is. Stacking crit hit chance on any weapon type is very beneficial. It is, of course, most beneficial in SMGs because you already have the crit hit chance, and crit hit damage on any gun is very beneficial. And I think it's one of the best ways to mod your gun on console, because although headshots will give you more benefit in the sense of they'll give you more damage to against your target, but we're playing on console, we don't have the same accuracy when it comes to aiming as people on PC do. So it's easier for us to hit center mass and get the extra crits than for us to focus on head and you know, hit or miss situation basically. Okay, back to shotgun talents. Let's go up. So as we were saying, you want things like responsive, competent, brutal, and as Dan was just saying, as it was stacking a shotgun with a crit hit chance. Yes, it is, but then you will have to build for crit hit chance, which means you can, to get the maximum effect out of it, you will have to get talents that synergize together. For example, you get vicious and deadly, or you get fierce and adept, things that will synergize together. It's not ideal to get, for example, brutal and fierce, because they won't really benefit out of each other that much. So you can definitely build for crits, but you have to build for crits. Don't just select a talent because it looks good, or it increases your DPS meter. Now, if it was your only option, or if you were between one of the crit talents and something like commanding, then yeah, by all means go for it. But to get the maximum benefit from crit hit chance or crit hit damage, you'll have to specifically build for it, whether by talents, by mods, by your gear. Like you can roll crit hit chance and crit hit damage on your knee pads or your mask, etc., etc. So as long as you're building for crit, it will be worth it, definitely. Okay, well, I think we're done with primaries. We go down to pistols. We didn't speak a lot about pistols because they are not that used in the game. As I said, they're only used for CC. For example, this pistol I have over here has got harmful, which is each hit has 15% chance to apply the bleed stats effect on the target. Ideally, they're only used, or they're mostly used in PvP, so you can annoy the enemy player in front of you before an encounter, or if they're running, or to make it easier for your teammates to get hits on them. Like this, as you can see, I already applied the bleed. You can see that it's sticking for 2700 on it. Now, while it's not doing much damage, it will slow the target and it will make their screen go dark gray, and it's rather really annoying. It will force them to use a medkit, which will affect their healing circle, like their healing cycle of like medkit, then first aid, then medkit, then first aid. So as I said, it's more of a utility gun than a pure damage dealing gun. Now, okay, back to the best talents that you can roll on pistols. As I was saying, all the CC talents are really good. Intense, harmful, or what was the third one? Let me check real quickly. You have intense, harmful, and toxic. Toxic applies the blind effect on a target. Cool-headed is actually one of a very good option to roll on pistols, especially if you're running a skill build, because you can just headshot, especially with the 93R, you can headshot an enemy multiple times and get your cooldowns much faster. Now, I'm not sure, but I think Cool-Headed has got a small nerf this patch where it doesn't work as efficiently as it used to be. Like for example with the 93R, every time you hit it, it will only cut for once because it's got a cooldown or something, but I'm not sure of that. But as I was saying, Cool-Headed is still one of the best talents you can run on your pistol if you are playing as a skill build. Now to quickly speak about other talents, like let's say I'm playing as a tactician. I have very high skills, like very high electronics. I don't have enough firearms, so I'm not dealing any damage to start with. Why would I care about adding talents that will increase my damage? In this case, you can actually choose to run some talents that will purely increase your skill. For example, this MP7, this is almost a god roll for any tactician. It's skilled, talented, and determined, which are the absolute best three talents any tactician can run. Skilled, which will increase your signature skill resources by 5% every time you land a headshot kill. The signature skill resources, basically your super will the super cooldown will decrease by 5% every time you have a headshot kill. Talented, which gives you 15% skill power increase for 20 seconds every time you kill a target, and determined, which gives you 7.5 skill cooldown every time you kill a target. Those three talents, as I said, are very good in skill builds, and they are some of the few gun talents that you can run as a skill build and actually be beneficial for you. The other damage dealing skills, although yes, they increase your damage, but your damage is already low, so increasing it by 10% wouldn't make that huge of a difference. This is why, like, if you are running a skill build, I think you should opt to choose at least two of those three talents, or even one of them. Like if you can get a gun with just talented on it, that would be very beneficial for your skill build. Okay guys, I know we were supposed to also talk about high-end gear and their the intrinsic talents on high-end gear, but we're already it's already been an hour, almost 15 minutes since we started broadcasting. I don't want to make it too long. I don't want you guys to get bored. We're already having a drop in viewers. So I'm going to end this. Are there any talents that should always be avoided? I would say no. I would say any talent is useful if you build around it. There are some talents that look absolutely horrible, but if you actually build around them, they can be very useful. Let's have an example. Let me go through my stash. I'm sure I have some rubbish guns in there. Focused, for example. Focused, while not the great or not the best thing you can run on an assault rifle, it's not to be avoided per se. It's good when it procs. It does give you the 10% extra damage, which is good, and it's definitely better than other guns, or better than other talents. If you're playing let's say a damage dealer and you have the option between commanding and focused, you choose focused, because although it's not something you look for, but if you had to choose between this and a worse talent, then it's not bad. It's not that bad. Let's look at something that some of the talents that are less famous, and sustained is one of the most like it's a lot of people avoid it simply because it does not give any flat damage increase, but it's it's one of the best talents if you are trying to play solo. Every time you kill a target, you get 6% health on kill. Put that with something like Nomad, and you know, you'll have something really overpowered. I actually have a build on my other character. I could have showed it. It's based on Nomad, Sustained, and health on kill majors on my gear. So every time I kill a target, I'm getting around 35% of my health back. That's almost like every time I kill an NPC, I pop a medkit. It's like a medkit on kill. I call it the immortal build because it's really very hard to die with that. To look at other talents, accurate is really good on the correct gun. It's not that great on assault rifles or on SMGs. Okay, I will. Yeah, I was actually thinking of the same, Dan. Commanding, dominant, trained. All of them are good if you build around them. I'm actually trying to find guns that have those talents. Hold on, was I talking about something else? Yeah, I was talking about accurate. Accurate, while they're not that great on assault rifles and SMGs, they're actually very good on marksman rifle. They will make you able to shoot your marksman rifle much faster than normal, especially with guns like the M1A or the Scar H. If you have accurate and let's say Sentry Skull, which gives you an extra 30% accuracy, your Scar H will become the best gun in the game. Although a lot of people regard it as a useless gun, but I don't know if any of you guys have a Scar H with accurate on it. Try that with Sentry and put a little bit of stability on it. Actually, not it is actually the best gun in the game as it is. It's very accurate because of the extra accuracy on both Sentry Skull and the accurate talent, and the RPM on it is ridiculous. It's really good if we mod it right for accuracy, because the problem with that is the reticle flinch is very annoying and it's very uncontrollable, but accuracy will tame that to a certain extent. Trained, critical hits increase signature skill resources by 10%. Now this is one of the least or actually I think it is one of the worst talents in the game. However, it's if you build around it, like let's say if you okay, sorry, I take back what I said. Trained is actually a useless talent, because I just remembered it only rolls on semi-automatic weapons. I'm still living in the days where it used to roll in SMGs, and that was the most overpowered thing in the game. But yeah, you're right. I just remembered it only rolls on semi-automatic weapons. So yeah, trained should be avoided in my opinion. Commanding and dominant actually are quite good. I will get to that. Commanding. Every kill performed while the signature skill is active extends its duration by 20%. I'll just tell you one thing. Damage super with commanding, and you have shitloads of NPCs in front of you. Imagine you built for that. You built for like let's say you had skilled on your gun, so you get your super really quickly. You have commanding, which extends its duration. You go and you pop your damage super and you try to get as many headshots as you can, and by the time your super is done, it's back again, because you land a headshot kill. You are getting the cooldown reduced further and further by 5%. I think commanding is actually a very underrated talent. It's if you build around it, it's actually one of the most overpowered talents in the game. I'm glad no one builds around it, because else, you know, Oh well, I don't think it will be that important in PvE and PvP really, because in PvP most of the time you kill a target with a rifle bot instead of just shooting them down, so it doesn't count as a kill with a gun. But yeah, commanding is actually really good. Dominant. Let me find dominant. Show you an example of dominant. Oh, I don't have any gun with dominant. It seems like I don't have any guns with dominant, guys. Yep, no guns with dominant. Okay, I don't have it, but as I remember, dominant is a skill that reduces your cooldown when you have a skill. Yeah, yeah. Every kill performed when signature skill is active reduces skill cooldown by 10%. Uh, yes, this is useful, Dan, especially if you're playing a let's say a healer build and uh, you're all wiping and you popped your green. It is very situational, but it is useful. It is useful, and like when the situation comes, it can be very useful. Let's say your team is wiping and you're the healer and you used your green super, so you have this 10 or 12 seconds of while the super is active. Uh, your teammates will get up. You start to get kills in order to have your heals uh, on a faster cooldown to you know, to get out of the situation you were in. So as I was saying, while not the best, I wouldn't say it should be avoided. Again, if you want to build around it, you can definitely build around it. uh, I would say um, uh, trained is probably the only talent I would say to avoid. Simply, even if you try to build around it, you will not get that much of a benefit. But almost every other talent in the game is very useful if you try to build around it. Proficient is I think the first bullet when in combat has got an increased chance of crit chance. Uh, Again, very situational, but if you build around it, think of something like a one-shot sniper. You can build an M44 with a very high headshot damage and very high uh, crit hit damage, and every time you shoot, if it's the first bullet out of especially in PvP, because most of the time PvP you are not in combat, especially in the dark zone. You're not in combat and you suddenly meet some players and you start shooting at each other. So think about it as it's a way to make a one-shot sniper build. You can build around it, and it can be quite useful. So yeah.
Amazing job casing the
Anyhow, as I was saying earlier, thank you all for joining us tonight. I know I was supposed to speak about the high-end gear talents, but the stream's already running longer than it should be. Does anyone have any questions before we end this? Alright, so I guess I'm just going to end the stream. Again, thank you guys so much for watching. It's it really means a lot. I am not a streamer. It's not my thing. This is why I may be unable to give you the best stream ever. However, I'm trying to give as much information for the guys who are less experienced in the game. Again, thank you so much for the support. Next week, or I don't know whether we'll do it next week or after 2 weeks, but on the next one, let's actually finally talk about the high-end talents, and I will do a couple of builds. I'll show you a couple of builds where we were just discussing some of the talents that are considered absolutely useless by a lot of people. I will try to make builds that are centered around them and show you the results, show you that if you actually spec around certain talents, although you might think they're useless, they can be quite useful. So yeah, I think that would be a good idea for the next stream. I'll be working on that from now till the next time we meet, hopefully. Thank you guys so much, and I guess I'll see you in the next stream. Bye.